Today what we're going to be doing is going over the new RoomKey housekeeping module. It is a web-based module, so you will need to log into it through your browser. We're going to go ahead and sort of take a look at how you access it and where you find the links. What we're going to do today is go over the support documentation. It's a bit of a new approach to the documentation, so it does include a lot of animated GIF files. So instead of regular screenshots, there's a lot of animations that are kind of showing you what to do and how to do everything. So it's really a self-serve type module. It's very intuitive. It's not overly complicated or difficult to use. So I think today, after you have a chance to see it in action, you should be able to roll it out without any issues. So far, to people that we have had roll out have had virtually no questions about anything. So, the document, it covers everything. As I said yesterday, there's no surprises in there. There's no hidden features. There's nothing that we're not showing you. It's all there, and it is just as it is. Okay. So the documentation can be found, of course, on our support site. So if you haven't been here before, it's support.roomkeypms.com. You can access it by going to our RoomKey website and just clicking on the support link on the main page, or you can type this into your browser, bookmark it if you don't already have it. So down here we've got everything for the desktop client, so the version of RoomKey that you're currently using. A little bit further down the page here, we've got a new section that we're starting called RoomKeyPMS Web-Based, and this is where you're going to find the information for housekeeping. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this here and open up the housekeeping section. So it's broken into two separate chapters here. The first chapter is configuration. So this is basically what you're going to need to do right now to get yourself up and running with the housekeeping module. Once you've completed all of these steps, really it's a one-time setup. On your day-to-day operations, you're going to be referring to this set of instructions here. So this is basically what you're going to be working on every day. Okay. So getting started with configuration, how do you access the web-based housekeeping module? I'm going to click on this here and open this up. So the housekeeping module is accessible to you already. All you need to do is go to this link here. It's app.roomkeypms.com. And it's going to open up a page that looks like this, and you're going to sign in simply with your existing username and password for RoomKey. Okay, that's all you need. If you've got a user ID, you can log in. If you don't have a username or password, you will need to create one. That is still done at this time in the desktop client of RoomKey. So you'd go to System Configuration, Clerks, and you would create a clerk ID. Okay, and then a little animation here just showing you how to go about doing that. Hopefully everybody is familiar with how to create a clerk in the system. I imagine everybody's probably done at least one or two. Okay, so the next thing that we move on to here is setting up sections. So some hotels use sections when they're assigning housekeeping. Not everybody does, so I just want to stress that this is an optional step. You don't need to do this, but if you do want to do this, you can go ahead and set them up in your RoomKey 1, your desktop client. Okay. When you're looking at sections, this is what the housekeeping module looks like in the web-based version. So when you're looking at the estimates page, you will see first off a tab here called All Room Types. And if you have sections set up, the names of the sections will be displayed right here next to that. Okay. And it is you can navigate through those. So you just simply click on them, and it's going to show you what rooms are made up of in each section, so what the sections are made up of in terms of room types. Okay. If you don't have any sections set up, this area will just appear blank, like so. Setting up sections is done in RoomKey 1 right now. We hope to have this functionality in RoomKey 2 very shortly. But for now, you would need to go ahead and simply click on System Configuration, Property, and then go into your room sections, and you go ahead and just add them in here as so. Once you've created all of your sections, if you've never added rooms to sections before, this is how you do it. You would go into your existing housekeeping module in RoomKey 1. You would open up the Set Up Room sections at the top here. You would check the Display All Rooms checkbox, and then you would add the rooms. Okay. So just a quick sort of, we'll start this from the top here. So into housekeeping. Click on that. Say show all rooms. Choose the sections that you've just created, one of them, and then you can hold down Control and multiple select rooms and push them over into the section. Okay. And I'm just doing a couple of rooms at a time here, but just so you get the idea of how this works. Okay. The next thing that you're going to want to do, and this is a bit of a departure from the way RoomKey works right now, or has worked in the past, I should say, is that all of your housekeeping attendants do need to be added into the PMS as clerks. So you can go ahead and create user IDs for each of your housekeeping attendants. Now, to be clear, they do not need to be able to log into the PMS. You just need to give them a username and password. Whether you give that username and password to them is entirely up to you. You don't need to. You just need to have them registered in the system in order to be able to assign them work in the new housekeeping module. Okay. So again, I just go through a couple of steps here on how you can go ahead and create them. And like I said, you can create them as clerks. You can take all the permissions away from them so they can't do anything if you want. It's up to you. But they just need to be in there. And that really is the extent of the setup that you will want to do in RoomKey 1. Next, we move on to creating attendants and assigning your team members. So all the team that you just added as attendants, we can now go ahead and start allocating them as either an attendant or an inspector in the new housekeeping module. So basically, you're assigning them a role. So for this, again, you're going to click on the team page, go to attendant, and click Add Attendant. And basically, everybody that you've just created will be in a list here, and you'll be able to choose their name from that list. One of the things that we've introduced with the new housekeeping is that you're able to now assign cleaning units or credits. Okay, so if you want to, you can create a credit-based system. You'll be able to assign your room types, either a full clean or a stay-over clean set of credits, and you'll be able to assign a maximum credits per day to each of your attendants. And you can use that to balance your work. Now, again, just to stress, the credits are optional. You do not need to use them. It is just an added functionality. So if you don't plan to use it, just make sure you leave the cleaning units per day at 0, and you don't set any stay-over or full clean credit units on any of the room types. You just leave those at 0 as well. Once you're done creating your team and everybody's listed as an attendant, you can go back and edit them. You can change their capacity or credits here if you need to. Right? And this really, just to be clear, when you're setting their credits here, you're just setting what is going to be their default for the day, or their default rather, I should say, in the system. When you start building the schedule for the day, you can actually increase or decrease their credits just for that one day. But when you bring them onto the schedule for the day, it will come with this default value, whatever you've set here. And again, like I said, you can adjust that up or down. The next step is creating your inspectors. So much the same way, you're going to go into the team page, click on inspectors, and say Add Inspector. And again, you'll see a list of people here. You can choose from that list. You can have people be both attendants and inspectors. So you would just add the same person to each side so they can have a dual role if you need them to. Now, different to attendants, inspectors do not have credits. So you do not need to worry about assigning them a credit capacity in this, or cleaning unit capacity in this area. Once again, you can go ahead and you can review the team page afterwards, so you can delete inspectors if they are no longer working with you, or you can add new ones. Just a side note, the edit button here, it doesn't actually have any function at this time. So you don't, like if you were to hit edit, it wouldn't do anything. There's really nothing to edit with inspectors. You either add or delete them. That's all there is. Next up, if you are going to be using the cleaning units or credit system, you can go ahead and you can assign those to your rooms. Okay, so it is done by room type at this point. So when we look at the estimates page here, again, we're going to see all room types, and we'll be able to see every room type that we have in the property. You'll see here that there are full clean units and stay over clean units. Right now, if you're not using the credit system, you just leave them at 0. If you do plan to use it, then you would go ahead and start adding values for this. And that's done just by clicking on the edit button here, and it'll give you the option. So let's take a look at how that works. And it's that easy. Okay. Now we took a look already at when you're creating your team, setting their credits or cleaning units on their profile in the system. Again, this is just another document here that deals with that specifically. So again, you would go back to the team page, click on your attendance, and again, you can either assign them as you're adding them, or if you need to make changes, you can simply just go ahead and if you forgot to add them when you added the attendant, you can edit them and add them later. And you can change these numbers up or down as you need to. So the next section, and that's it, just for the configuration side of things, okay? So that's the break point. We're done with the setup and configuration of housekeeping. All you need to do. Going forward from this point on, what we're going to be looking at now is daily operations. So what do you need to do on a daily basis? So everything really for getting set up for the day is going to happen on the schedule page. And the first step, of course, to assigning any work to your team is you need to build a schedule for the day. So you need to say who is working today. All right. There's 3 buttons that you're going to see here. You're going to see copy yesterday's schedule, add attendant, and add inspector. Okay, copy yesterday's schedule will not be available to you on the first run because it doesn't copy the schedule over from RoomKey 1 or anything like that. It's solely contained within this housekeeping module on the web. So, you wouldn't be able to use the copy yesterday's schedule until at least the second day using the system. So the first day you'll have to build it from the ground up. Okay, but if you do have people that are working day in, day over day, and your team doesn't change that much on a daily basis, the copy yesterday's schedule can be very, very helpful. It's a time saver. Okay, so you can just pull everybody that worked yesterday, and then you can go ahead and you can tweak that, and you can add or delete people for a certain day, and make the changes that you need. One of the things I'm just going to draw your attention to is this number in red. So when you are using the cleaning units or credit system, what this is going to do is this is going to take a look at all of the dirty rooms, and it's going to add up all of the different credits, whether they're a checkout, so if it's a departure, or if it's a stayover. Okay, so if it's a full clean or a stayover clean, it's going to compile all that, and it's going to give you a number, basically how many credits you need to be able to assign out today to bring it to 0. So the goal is to get this number down to 0 once you've assigned everybody their workload for the day. So taking a look here, adding a team member. So you'll see that this number goes down as I add people in, and I may need to adjust their credits. for the day in order to be able to balance it out. So some days you may need to increase their base credits. As I said, when you copy them in or when you bring them into the schedule for the day, they're going to come with their base level credits that you set for them on the team page. And again, you can adjust that number up or down. So creating a new schedule for the day, how does that work? On the schedule page, you click Add Attendant, and here you'll find a contextual list of all of your attendants. You can go ahead and just start adding them. And as you add them and as you add their credits here, you'll see this number go down. You can use the little plus and minus buttons here to toggle people's credits up or down as well. And you can do half credits if you need to. Adding inspectors is much the same way. So you would just click on Add Inspector and pull from your list of inspectors. I only have 2 people in my property allocated as inspectors, and that's why I only see 2 people in that list. Removing attendants, very simple to do as well. Simply place a check mark next to their name, click Remove Attendant, and that will remove them from the schedule for the day. You can remove multiple people, just check all their names and click Remove. And then you can go ahead and add new people for the day if you need to. Same thing with inspectors. You can simply place a check mark next to their name, remove them. Copying yesterday's schedule is really as simple as just pushing copy yesterday's schedule, and everything will just populate for you. Of course, you may need to make changes, as I mentioned, if you are copying yesterday's schedule. Perhaps Mazen here is going to be an inspector today. He's a dual role, so I'm going to go ahead and add him in as my inspector for today. So taking him off my attendant list and putting him on my inspector list. Okay. And again, you can make changes to people's credits here if you need to. So the next thing we're going to do, now that the team is built, the schedule is built for the day, we're going to take a look at how we assign work out to our attendants. How do you assign rooms? Down on the assignment page, let's take a look at the assignment page here. So there's a little navigation button here that says assignment. It's going to be broken into attendants and inspectors. There is an activity log as well, just so that you're aware anything that you do in the housekeeping module is recorded in the activity log, so you'll be able to look back, and it's searchable by date range and that sort of thing. So you'll be able to look back and see what changes were made. Okay. Over here, we're looking at all of our attendance for the day. Over here, we're looking at our rooms, our unassigned rooms, or just our rooms bucket, I should say, because there's going to be, clean, dirty, inspected, a mix of everything. You'll be able to search by room number or room name if you have names of rooms. And then there's a set of filters here, so you can filter by room type, section, status, occupancy, or reservation. Okay. So this is the unassigned rooms. Out of order rooms will show at the bottom. You'll see a little area down here. Out of order rooms will show in black. Currently, putting rooms out of order still has to take place in the maintenance module in RoomKey in the desktop client. Okay, so there's no out of order functionality in the housekeeping module. You still need to manage that from RoomKey 1. Okay. So there's 2 methods of assigning rooms for your attendants. You can either assign by rooms, which is selecting a block of rooms from the rooms list on the right and then adding them to a designated attendant, or you can assign by attendant, which allows you to first select the attendant and then choose a set of rooms to assign to them. And we're going to look at both of those. Okay? So the first one, assign by room. So again, you can use your filters here to create a list or a filtered down sort of filter list there. So selecting rooms to be assigned, let's take a look at what happens when you start adding rooms. So you can click on them individually here, and you'll see at the bottom that as you add them up, it's going to tally the total cleaning units or credits for the rooms. And the assign rooms is going to show you how many rooms you have selected. So you can manage your workload here. To assign work to an attendant, again, I'm just going to go ahead and create a filter for first floor, dirty rooms. I see I've got 28 credits for Slavin. So I'm going to start adding up rooms here, and clicking on them. And we're going to see as I do that, my total credits at the bottom now equals the amount of credits for Slavin. So I'm going to say assign rooms, and I'm going to search for Slavin, click apply, and there we go. And now his capacity is at 0. The other option, as mentioned, is assigning by attendant. So I would click on my attendant first and then say assign rooms, and this modal is going to pop up. And again, I've got the ability to filter my list down. Okay. Selecting the rooms works in a very similar fashion to the way it did on the room side. So again, filter down to my dirty rooms on the 5th floor. And as I click on rooms here, we're going to see that bar at the top start to increase. And that is indicative of the current attendance capacity for the day. Okay. So once they get to 100%, they've got 30 credits for the day. You'll see I can go over if I need to. You can assign if you're over capacity, that's fine. So if you do need somebody to do an extra room for a day, you can go ahead and do that. But it's just kind of letting you know where you're at in terms of how hard you're working your team and whether or not they're over their limit or not. Okay. Again, assign rooms, filter down, and of course, once you get to a certain level, you just say assign rooms, and those rooms are now going to appear underneath the attendant here. We also have the option to do bulk assignments. So you'll see you can use assign rooms here. We'll filter down to the 5th floor dirty rooms, and I can just say assign all rooms, and it'll just go ahead and grab everything and assign it to that person. You also have the assign all rooms on this side as well, on the room side. So that function is available in both areas. Next, we're going to look at assigning rooms to inspectors. So once you've assigned all your rooms to your attendants, there should really be nothing dirty left in the rooms bucket. But when you move over to the inspectors page, everything will be, once again, unassigned because you're assigning the same rooms but to a different role now. Okay. So on the assignment page, we're going to click on inspectors. Assigning work to inspectors works in much the same way as it does to attendants, minus the worry of the cleaning capacities. Okay? You don't have to worry about those credits. So again, we've got the rooms bucket, you've got your out of order, and again, there's 2 methods of assigning rooms, either assigned by rooms or assigned by inspector. So I'm just going to skip over this because we kind of covered all of this just a minute ago, but I'll just give you one quick sort of view here. So again, I would just go ahead and start selecting rooms and assign rooms and then pick my inspector. And there we go. Conversely, you can do the same thing here. You can say assign rooms straight out of the inspector themselves. And that will also do the assignment. Again, we do have that bulk action of assign all rooms. So if you want to just go ahead and say assign all rooms to a specific team member, you can go ahead and do that. Be careful to use your filter list for that. Don't do it for the entire hotel. And again, that feature is available both assigning by room or assigning by inspector. So sometimes you assign rooms to somebody and you might need to change the assignment. You might need to either unassign, maybe they called in sick and you found out that they're not going to be working, so you need to unassign their rooms, or you need to reassign them to somebody else. So we're going to take a look at those options here. So once rooms are assigned to an inspector, you can go ahead and select, or an attendant, I should say, you can go ahead and select all rooms and say action unassign rooms. Or you can do it one at a time. So you can use both single selection or bulk selection for this. The other option is, of course, reassigning rooms. So again, you can do a single selection, choose action, and reassign rooms. And you can add a different attendant there, and you'll see that those rooms will move down to Lucy below. Or again, you can use the bulk action, reassign all rooms. Printing daily schedules for the team. So there's a couple of options when it comes to printing the schedules. We're going to take a look at this. It's done on the assignment page. There's a print today's schedules button in the top. And you just simply go ahead and select print. The print all schedules, or like the first option here, which is print all schedules, what it's going to do is it's going to give you everybody for the day, and it's going to be ordered with attendance first and then inspectors last. So the schedule page is going to look like this right now. There are some changes, just so you're aware, that are going to be coming to this report, some added features. We are looking at different layouts and working on that right now. So, you know, we're listening to feedback that we've been receiving about the layout of the report. We're hoping to, excuse me, incorporate things like guest services, an area for notes. There's going to be some options that will make the report configurable, so you'll be able to choose what fields you see on there. Some people want to see the guest names, other people don't want to see the guest names. So there'll be things that you can turn on or off on the report. You'll be able to sort of customize it. So that's still in development right now, but it will hopefully be coming out in the next few months. So stay tuned for that.
David, one quick question. Would we be able to list like 30 days of projects for the housekeepers on this, like add a line for that type of scenario?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
So,
is that slated? Or?
Sorry?
Is that something that you all could work on, or could I suggest that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Feel free to suggest it. Do you have Andy's email?
I do, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to forward that to him, because he is, like I said, looking for feedback right now, really trying to get as much feedback as he can. So please, yeah, absolutely reach out to him and let him know if there's anything that you'd like to see. It may have already been suggested to him. I don't know.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So some of the other options that we have here, other than print all schedules, is print all attendance, which does just that. It's only going to print the attendance schedules. Print all inspectors, again, it's just going to print the inspector schedules. And then the last option is print individual schedules. So of course, as you would expect, you'll be able to type in the name of the person whose schedule you want to print. updating room statuses. So this is kind of the most important part. As people finish their work, rooms are going to need to be updated. Okay. So let's take a quick look at this. As work is being completed throughout the day, you'd simply go into the attendant, click on a room, choose actions, and update room status / occupancy. And we're going to move this to clean, and you're going to see that those are going to go ahead and change to yellow for us. Okay. Now you can do this one room at a time, or you can do bulk rooms as well. So you can select a number of different rooms here. As you can see, I've just chosen 3 rooms, and I'm going to go ahead and make all of those clean and apply. Okay. You can change, if you notice here, you can change the occupancy of the room as well. So if you go into an occupied room or a vacant room and you found, it's one or the other, you can go ahead and change that. Of course, it doesn't affect anything as far as the front desk status goes. So if you go into a room that you were expecting to be vacant and you found that the guest is actually still in there and you change it to occupancy, you change the occupancy to occupied, it is going to create a discrepancy, and we'll take a look at the discrepancy report. But of course, as with any discrepancy report, you just make note of it, pass it to the front desk, and they can go ahead and investigate and follow up with the guest. Okay. You may go into a room that you think is occupied and it turns out it's vacant, the guest is left. So again, you can make changes to that. Once the rooms are being changed by the attendant from dirty to clean, of course that's going to reflect on the inspector page. Okay, so the inspectors, when they're looking at their list, they're going to know when they can go into a room to inspect it, because they should see them all as yellow. Okay, so again, when they go in and inspect it, they would just click on the room and update the room status to clean and inspected. And again, you can do multiples here. And there we go. Okay. So as mentioned, when you do change the occupancy status of a room, if it does differ from the front desk status, it is going to create a discrepancy. We do have a discrepancies page. And it's actually, I think it's quite a bit better than what we had in RoomKey 1. We still follow the same format, so there's 2 types of discrepancies. There's a sleep discrepancy and a skip discrepancy. So everybody should know what those are. If you don't, there's some common examples here of what those are. Okay. In both situations, it indicates that there is some follow-up that needs to happen from the front desk. So this is what the discrepancy report is going to look like. You're going to see skip and sleep broken out into 2 separate sections. Okay. New to RoomKey 2, you will be able to sort by columns here. So if you want to sort by room number, or if you want to sort by room status or front desk status, whatever you want to do, room type, you can use those filters and create the order that you want to see before you print the schedule, or before you print the report, I should say. Okay, so whatever you set this to, when you click print, it will save that and it'll print out in that particular order that you just defined. So that is it. That's the end of the documentation. That is basically everything that you need to know about using the housekeeping module. It is a minimum viable product, so basically what that means is that there is not all of the features and functions that will be coming to it in there just yet, but we figure that it is enough for what people will need to do on a daily basis. And as mentioned, we are looking at enhancing the reporting features in there for the schedules. So hopefully that's going to kind of tie up a few extra loose ends. And then, of course, over time, there will be added functionality as we receive feedback. So as Andy gets new ideas and that kind of thing, there will be some additions to the module just to make it a little bit more robust. Okay. Just a side note about using the web-based version of housekeeping. So really, it is a tool that is designed. It is a tool that is designed for your housekeeping executive at this time. It does work on any device and any operating system, and right now it is just as a side note, it is optimized for certain browsers. So under system configuration here, it is currently optimized for Google Chrome and Internet Explorer 11. It will also work on Firefox, Chrome Mobile, Safari Mobile, and Microsoft Edge. There is a known issue in Microsoft Edge, so just so that you're aware. The count of rooms being selected doesn't increase between 1 and 10. As far as operating systems go, you can use it on Windows 7, 8, and 10. You can use it on Mac OS 10. You can use it on Apple iOS or Android phones and tablets. It will work on an iPad or any kind of tablet that you have. All right, it is scalable, and the size of the screen and the display will automatically adjust to fit the screen that you're working on. So if you are an inspector and you do have an iPad or a tablet or anything like that, you can log in and you can update on the go.